Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. We are going to get after it today with something. It's going to be a quick hit today. I'm on a tight timeline, but I really want to get this information out there because this is one, even though it's going to be brief, you can share this with all of your friends. Matter of fact, share it as wide as you can because there is some absolute stupidity going on in our world, and I want to clear some things up. Okay, I've had some conversations this week that have been super interesting in some different areas of my life, you know, whether it be Twitter, in person, all this kind of stuff. And there's this consistent theme for whatever reason is percolating right now. And I think I could help because my background, having a lot of work done in the brain sciences, you know, studying, Daniel Amen and Dr. Siegel and, Badnock and all this, there's all these people who've done amazing work. Like truly keeping, the body keeps the score stuff. Like there's so much good stuff out there, but I want to clear something up. Because there's some things we know about the brain. There's a lot we don't know, but there are some things we know about the brain. And what I want to do is help you understand your flaws today, right here, right now. And we're going to do it in a way that it's going to trigger some of you right from the beginning. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to get no beating around the bush. We're going to hit a hard topic. Conspiracy theories. Look, there are so many conspiracy theories out there. And it's not relegated to the other side, folks. It's not the other side. If you're that naive, you need to wake up. Yeah, no, I didn't have to bleep because I didn't say it. You just have to wake up because all sides are capable of creating conspiracy theories. I'm going to tell you how they work. Not the Democrat Party or the Republican Party or this or that or whatever. No, I'm going to tell you how conspiracy theories work in the brain right here, right now, in the next 10 minutes or less. All right. Number one, a conspiracy theory is a made up narrative. So if we look at the narrative, pathways, like the idea in the clinical world, we look at narrative therapy. It's this whole section of mental health where we talk about how memories are created, how memories can be changed, the scaffolding process. There's just like all this stuff. But I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to break it down kindergarten style. So if you don't catch this, sorry, folks, that's on you. You're not trying. This is not rocket science. This is actually pretty easy. And if you take what I'm saying here and you put it into application, you're going to see it everywhere you look. You won't be able to not see it. You're going to see it. Okay. So it's a made up narrative. So narratives, how does the brain create a narrative? Well, first you have an engram, an initial memory, and then you build on that initial memory with what we call scaffolding. A memory goes on top of a memory, on top of a memory, on top. It's just like on the roof, right? You got the scaffold. It's the same in the brain, only in the real world, the way the brain works is it fills in the gaps. So if you jump 1 inch, and then 1 inch, and then 1 inch, and then 1 inch, you don't have very many assumptions. Can you have some? Yes, but not many. Why? Because we're only covering a gap of 1 inch. So the assumptions we're going to make are going to be small assumptions. That doesn't mean insignificant assumptions, but they're small assumptions. The way conspiracy works is it does the 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, 2 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 3 inch, 3 inch, and it builds up just like if you went to the weight room. It builds up this idea little by little. It's like breadcrumbs, right? They're going to leave a breadcrumb, leave another breadcrumb, leave another breadcrumb, leave another breadcrumb. And eventually, even though the breadcrumbs get farther apart, because your mind recognizes the crumbs, finding them gets easier and easier and easier, even though they're farther apart. Unfortunately, between crumbs is assumptions. You're making assumptions. You fill in the narrative with what you want. That's where bias comes in, your confirmation bias. Oh, I know there will be another crumb. They've been pointing me in this direction. I'm going to keep going, and there's another crumb. And then I'm going to keep going, and there's another crumb. And it does this. Okay, so in a conspiracy, we have incremental bridges, let's say, that are small at first, larger and larger as we go. Now, how do they create them? That's going to be like the really cool part, in my opinion. A narrative is created for you by somebody going and getting facts. You're like, but if they're facts, then it's true. No, absolutely not. 100% absolutely not. Could it be true? The answer is maybe. Is it true? There's no guarantee, which is why we have to stay always on our game, understanding that even though they're spreading out these crumbs, it may be a false narrative. It may be that they're throwing a crumb that sort of fits, and eventually they throw out a crumb that barely touches at all, and you buy it. You buy it because it could fit if I what? If I create a narrative that makes it fit. You know you're sucked into a conspiracy when you're doing that. When you're doing well, it could fit. Look, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying be cautious about doing that. Because if it could fit is your response, then you should have this little nagging noise saying, maybe not, though. That forces you into a position to be more healthy in your assessment of it. Okay, so the gaps get bigger, the assumptions get greater. So what they have done in a conspiracy theory, what they do is they go and they find all of these so-called facts and they tie them together as tightly as they can at first. And then they loosely associate, and then they don't associate. And that's when it's a conspiracy. So this is what is being done as a technique to manipulate. And here's why they're doing it. One, because the brain is already designed to do it. But two, if they do this model, they're going to get all the lazy, stupid, naive people who want to believe them to go along with them. Think about what I just said. The ones who want to believe them. So I had this conversation this week, about why is it that the left right now is violent? And, it's incredibly violent in some situations. Now, it hasn't been so much in the last year, but it has been more violent on the left. If you can't see that, I'm sorry, you got to wake up. It's just what it is. And my suggestion was, well, the right is just as capable. If you can't believe that, you're getting sucked into a narrative, not the truth, but a truth that you want to believe. The right and the left are both capable of being sucked in to the violent behaviors. And if we're not careful, they will be, unfortunately. Why? Because there's all these mistruths, not truths, mistruths going on in the world around you. And the result of that is you're bridging gaps that shouldn't be bridged. You're attempting to jump over the Grand Canyon of gaps, saying, well, the left can't be that violent. Well, the right can't be that violent. You're full of crap. They absolutely can. There is what I call a loud minority that is trying to get people to jump over gaps that shouldn't be jumped over. They're trying to bridge gaps, and they're doing that this way. So I like to give you tools. How do we do this? How do we do this when we find a book that's speaking conspiracy? And it's like, oh, years of research, because I came across a book this week that I was talking to somebody about called A Democracy in Chains. And okay, so they found all these documents, they researched it for many, many years. What it means is they put together a series of small incremental steps, followed by more large incremental steps, followed by just absolute falseness. Because what they did was, in this particular case, is they didn't pan it out over time with the changes that are today. It was stuck in one time bubble, which means it may or may not be accurate today. That's the problem. But we go and we say, well, it was accurate when it started. Maybe there were some truths in there, definitely. But is it accurate today? And it's all about, racism in education, and why, the right wants, school choice, and they're saying it's racist. It's white supremacy. Well, at the time of the documents that they researched, there was a greater amount of racism. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, people, but the way they draw out the conspiracy is they take something that was in a space and time, and they say, well, that's going to be true always. That right there is false. You can't bridge that gap, because if we change, if we grow, if we get better as a country, as a people, I know that's a big if, that's a jump too, folks. But if we do, then that would be the conspiracy. Now, if we haven't changed at all, if we are the same naive racist people, where you have whites can go here and blacks can go here and browns can go there, but you can't mix. You can't mix. You cannot. Well, then yeah, maybe it still fits. But it's not like that, folks. We can't pretend it's like that when it's not like that. It's a bridge too long for us to jump. And so we shouldn't. The tool I have for you, go backwards. Just go backwards. Can you follow the breadcrumbs backwards? Because think about it. They're small at first, bigger and bigger and bigger. So you just take the big leap, the one at the very, very end going backwards. And you tell me, can you get there? Can you get there? Because if you try to jump it backwards, you're going to go, holy crud. That seems definitely not super reasonable. And then if that happens, open your friggin' mind, folks. Open your mind and ask questions. Wait a minute. How do we bridge these bigger gaps? How do we do that? If we didn't have those preformed biases, how would we bridge this big gap? And it's going to force you into looking at your assumptions, folks. That's what it's going to do. My hope for you today is that, one, you understand a little bit more about the brain, because around here we like to teach the mental health stuff. Number two, I hope you understand conspiracy theories just a little bit better. And number three, I hope you share it with people, because a lot of folks need this. They're under these naive notions that, oh, well, my side wouldn't be violent. Oh, no, well, my side wouldn't be violent. Well, we're not that violent. Well, we're not that violent. Problem is, you keep dividing us. These conspiracy theories keep being thrown out there. The demagoguery keeps going on. And pretty soon, there's going to be a lot more violence than we need, than we want. It's going to come to your door, and I don't want it. I don't want it at your door or my door. That's what I got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was helpful. Please, again, share it and have a good one. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.